Well, to seemingly rub salt in the wounds of AEW, kicking them while they're already down, curled up in the fetal position, is now making the news rounds that Warner Brothers Discovery, the parent company of TBS and TNT, which are the channels that host AEW's content, are now the top bidder and most likely choice to buy the rights for WWE's Monday Night Raw program, which is making the rounds right now, being shopped around to different networks. For more on this, and spoiler alert, by the way, it's complete bullshit. But for more on this, to kind of dive into the nitty-gritty and the details on this, first want to play a clip from JD from NY, JD from New York. And he had some guy on his show, I don't fucking know. And he brought up to JD this news that is seemingly making the rounds. Is Warner Brothers Discovery the top bidder for Monday Night Raw? And if they are, is this the death nail for AEW? Check out this clip.
It seems as if the WWE Raw deal is going to be announced very, very shortly. It seems like Warner Media Discovery is going to be a head bidder for WWE Raw. JD, I ask you this. If they go to if WWE gets Monday Night Raw on TNT or TBS, is AEW dying?
Yes. Yes, they are. I didn't think that was a possibility.
Neither.
Man, why would they make that? What's with all the fucking smoke and mirrors? Tony Khan, I'm not going to do anything to disrupt the partnership. There's a great partnership with Warner Brothers Discovery, and they love us, and we love them, and all this other bullshit. Why would they do that to Tony Khan if there's such a great relationship there?
So I laughed at this when I first saw it. This was like out a couple months ago, and I laughed at it. But when CM Punk showed up on Saturday, I was like, holy, and he's attached to the Raw brand. I always think of different things than what the typical wrestling fan will look at. They're like, oh, Punk's back. This is awesome. He's going to take out Seth Rollins and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And yes, well, that's true. But I thought to myself, is this because of Warner Discovery? Is WWE so close to signing? Are they going to get what they want from Warner Media, Warner Discovery? And CM Punk is like the last little sprinkle on that.
Wait a minute. So we're really going to get one Bill Phil.
And yes, absolutely. If Warner Brothers Discovery were to pick up Monday Night Raw, obviously that would probably pretty much be the end of AEW. Even if they were to find their way onto another network, they're going to die. They're going to fall into that trap that TNA did, where they were slowly, once they were on Spike, which was actually a pretty good network, they just slowly, Destination America and wherever the fuck else they ended up on, it was the death of them. And this would absolutely be the death of AEW if they were to lose Warner Brothers Discovery as their network. But hold on, because I do have thoughts on that. But before I get to my own personal thoughts, let's check in with our boy Eric Bischoff, who is the foremost authority on network deals and that sort of thing, right? His opinion's always worth its salt because, for all of people's criticisms of Eric on the creative end, the TV business is definitely up his alley as a TV producer. Check out Eric's thoughts on the potential of Monday Night Raw going to Warner Brothers Discovery.
So there have been a lot of questions and rumor and innuendo as to where Monday Night Raw is going to land. A lot of people, Eric, think that announcement is going to come sooner rather than later. I have to source the Wrestling Observer for this because this was their report today. Whether you agree with it or disagree with it, I'll leave that jurisdiction up to you. But Dave says that, quote, regarding WBD, which would be the game changer in many ways if it happened, the WBD version told to many this past week is that Nick Khan last went to WBD in October with a pitch and was turned down.
The Warner Brothers Discovery thing to me seems like one of the least more interesting opportunities. But again, I'm not in, man. I don't know what their plans are. What are their goals over the next 5 years? What's their strategy for the next 3 years? I don't know. And without some basis of knowledge, all we're doing is whiffing, guessing.
So I think there is one, and I'm going to try to be a little analytical here. I think there is one facet at play that has complicated the issue a little bit for Raw negotiation rights. And that is what's going on with the NBA. Because the NBA is going to be the premier media property that's going to be hitting the market within the next year.
I agree with Eric, and in fact, I'm going to double down on it, and I'm going to say that there is no chance in hell, at least for this go-around. Who knows what the future holds, but at least for this go-around, Monday Night Raw is not going to Warner Brothers Discovery. For those of you who forgot or just don't pay attention or whatever the case may be, we've already covered this here on this show when we talked about the possibility of Warner Brothers Discovery owning a piece of AEW. Check out this clip from that episode of Tony Khan being questioned about this.
I was just going to ask you, I mean, one of the big questions and one of the big rumors going around has to do with the ownership of the company and WBD. And is there any negotiations going on or anything to, do they own a minority piece, or is there any negotiations going on in that direction?
Well, it's something we talked about a lot. There's been a lot of conversations about that. And it's, it's always been something I've been open to. And, between Warner Brothers Discovery and myself, a lot of the financial and structural details of our partnership we've been able to keep between us. But there are things I've always said to be true, that I own 100% of the voting stock in this company, and that I have 100% of the decision-making power in the company. And I've been open to taking on additional partnerships or things of that nature. But we have a really great deal right now with Warner Brothers Discovery, and I would love to have an even longer agreement. And as for them and their stake in the business, I mean, that is something that would be between us, but I would also be open to that, to Warner Brothers in a future deal, having a piece or a bigger piece potentially, but I would always want to maintain 100% voting control as I have now.
So even though this has not been publicly disclosed by any stretch, I think that's all the proof you really need that Warner Brothers Discovery absolutely owns at least a piece of AEW to some extent. Otherwise, Tony would have just said no. What's the point in trying to kayfabe it like that and play coy? You only do that when there's something there, but you don't want to give details on it. And him even saying like, look, bro, I will fucking, I'd be open to them taking on a chunk or taking on a bigger chunk. They own a piece of AEW, so they are not going to be in the market for another company. They're just not, especially with the NBA rights deals coming up, as John Alba had said there. That's going to be their main focus. They're going to want to keep their money free for that. And whether they end up getting the NBA rights deal or not, they're already invested in AEW. And I will elaborate more on that here, but I do want to kind of dive in, my journalistic earbuds kind of, my spider senses started tingling here, my journalistic spider senses, wondering where this came from anyway. So what we did here is I tried to kind of track down where people were saying this source came from. So let's hop on over to X, Twitter X, where we have WrestleLamia posted on November 30th here. And shame on WrestleLamia, by the way, because I actually like some of their videos and stuff. They listed the top 3 bidders for WWE's Raw's TV rights in 2024. Warner Brothers Discovery. Bam! Right there. Disney. And that would be for FX, not like the Disney Channel or Disney Plus or anything. And then Amazon for their Prime product, presumably. Not Logan Paul's Prime product. It's a different Prime product. But then below here, look at this. We follow the trail, right? Oh, you can't see my cursor. Yeah, you can. There it is. It's highlighted. Wrestle World in parentheses as that's their, is that the source that they're citing? So what's this Wrestle World they speak of? So I hop on over here and I find this. From November 28th, a Twitter account by the name of Wrestle World. It's Wrestle World, yay! Which I have never heard of until I did my research on this. But apparently, look, over here on the side, if you can see this, trustworthy news and opinions on pro wrestling. Well, I don't know about you guys, but anybody that puts trustworthy as the very first word, trustworthy news, into their news bio, why are you trying to oversell yourself, bro? You're really trying to convince me of your trustworthiness. They post here. Look at this. Exclusive. You know what that means? It means they are the ones breaking the news. It means they're not getting it from anywhere else. Wrestle World. You guys all know Wrestle World, right? There's what? Wrestling Observer with Dave Meltzer. There's Wade Keller's shit. Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful. Right up there with all of them. Wrestle World, right? No? Never heard of them either? Right. Trustworthy news and opinions, though. They post exclusive. We're being told that Raw's next TV deal has either been completed or extremely close to being completed and is expected to be announced before 2024. Last we heard, the top three bidders in order: Warner Brothers, Discovery, Disney, Amazon. Also in the running, NBC Universal, who already has the rights to Raw currently. USA, right? That's their exclusive. Now, they do not cite any other sources here. So you know what this is, folks? It's all a big pile of bullshit. A big nothing burger. You're welcome. I already pulled the Tony Khan basically admitting as much, that Warner Brothers Discovery is a partial owner of AEW. And now we just trace the source of this all the way back to a super trustworthy news site on Twitter that everybody's heard of. So, Warner Brothers Discovery is not going to be getting Raw. Maybe sometime in the future, if AEW flops or folds or something goes afoul with them and they do lose their TV rights. But I think, I've said this over and over and over again, but I'll give you a quick refresher before I wrap this up here. Warner Brothers Discovery, David Zaslav, he has been on record very clear about the kind of company that he wants to build. He wants to build fandoms, and he wants to build around non-scripted television and fandoms. Fandoms, non-scripted television. Those were his two big selling points. Non-scripted, sports, reality shows, shit that does not require writers and all that big fucking production staff and all that. Just like not TV shows, right? Like they're not The Sopranos is basically what he's saying. Shit like AEW falls right into non-scripted and sports like content. It's also live and all of that, and it's very, very cheap to produce. And they even went as far as to start to try to find other shows to book around AEW, such as The Slap Fight, such as AEW's All Access or whatever that show was. They are in the AEW business. They gave AEW a whole nother show, Collision. That was their idea. Now, granted, that was to be the CM Punk show. And things obviously have changed, as we talked about in depth earlier here on the show. But Warner Brothers Discovery, they're not going anywhere. They are partnered up with AEW. They're in cahoots with AEW. And Warner Brothers Discovery owns their brands, by the way. The ones that they don't own, they will try to license, like the NBA and, AEW. But they own a bit of AEW. But they own the Harry Potter shit. They got the exclusive rights to that. They own DC, Batman, Superman, Harley Quinn, all of that. They got that too. They own it. They own it. They got their own cartoon, Bugs Bunny, all that shit, the Looney Tunes squad. That's all Warner Brothers, right? So that's their jam. They are in the business of owning properties and brands that they can build fandoms around. Hello, which wrestling, and you know what, Raw would be too, but Raw is not something that it really seems like Warner Brothers Discovery would rather have their own number 2 wrestling product. And Tony Khan always talks about they're the ones who keep trying to educate Tony on the challenger brands. They see AEW as a Pepsi to WWE's Coke. That's probably why they bought into it. It's cheaper. It's reliable, not 24/7, but 365 content. It's weekly. It's always going to be there. 52 weeks live. You can depend on it. Like the fucking, you can depend on a minimum fan base that will always be there. Sure, you could put a rerun of a show, but I think people even highly underrate how much reruns of shows cost. A Big Bang Theory probably cost as much, if not more, than an AEW episode of Dynamite cost to run. That shit's expensive. Very expensive. So that's my piece on this. So I've presented you all of the facts and all of the opinions and given you my own educated opinion. So next time you see anybody out there speculating, saying, oh, yeah, they're wrong. It's not going to happen. They're full of shit. They're speculating based on speculators. That's all they're doing. There's nothing. There's no smoke to this fire. I will eat this foam piece right here on my microphone with fucking hot sauce. If Warner Brothers Discovery signs Monday Night Raw on this TV deal. That's just my thoughts. Let me know yours down in the comments below. Let me know how you think I might be wrong, or did I nail it on the head? Got it. First try. Let me know your thoughts. Where would you like to see Raw end up? Where should Raw end up? I even heard Netflix could be in the mix. I love these TV rights deals seasons. This is always exciting. But I wouldn't expect Warner Brothers Discovery to be making any kind of big shakeups with AEW anytime soon.
Oh yeah, thanks for checking out the video. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like it if you liked it. Yeah. You can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on the channel. Ooh yeah, dig it!